Hello and welcome, I'm Tim and this is TimBatSea. Got some news for you. If you've been following along on social media, like at Instagram, you probably know that I am just moments away from retirement. Actually, it's not really retirement, it's really kind of more like a sabbatical. Gonna be walking away from the tug industry for a little while and doing a 18-month cruise around Europe and Africa and then back around the Caribbean with Chrysalida. You can follow along on all that. We'd love to have you over there on SV Paquita. I'll put a link in the description. But this channel is not going away. I will hopefully have probably less content, not every week, but a little less often. But we'll have different friends contributing different things tugboat related, and I still have a bunch of content that I can still put up, and hopefully I'll even be able to bring in some stuff from other places that I see. So like tugs from other countries and that sort of stuff. So anyway, in that vein, you guys might remember Chief Keith. He's my engineer, and he's made a couple of really funny videos. You can see them, and he's got a lot of fans because he's a funny guy. Anyway, he has produced this week's video, so I hope you like it, hope you enjoy it, and remember, we're not going away, we're just slowing down, changing a little bit. So that's that, and be sure to come along for SV Paquita and see how it goes. And if you like what Chief Keith has done, give him some love in the comments and encourage him to do more. Alright, take care, enjoy the video.
Hey guys, it's the Chief here. Thought I'd give you a tour of my personal toolbox that I bring to work. We have a lot of tools here on the boat, pretty much everything we need, but sometimes tools, get put back in places that they shouldn't be. They're a little hard to find, and sometimes I just like the brand of my tools a little better. So I'm going to show you all the tools in my personal box here, and if you want to buy any of these tools, I have a Amazon affiliate link in the bottom in the description. And, maybe I'll make a few bucks off of it if you want to pick some of these up for yourself. So here we go, and hope you enjoy the video. Starting in the top of the box, I have one of my most used tools, a tape measure. This one's automatic locking. It's got high visibility readout, and if you'll notice, it's got metric and standard measurements. Pretty fucking nice. Next up, I've got some Klein drivers. I used to not be a fan of multi-bit screwdrivers. I used to like to have 40 different screwdrivers in my giant toolbox at home. But now that I have to lug this box around, sometimes all the way to the upper wheelhouse, I like to consolidate, and these Klein drivers are very nice. I've got both the screwdriver, which also has a square drive for getting in there. I can't remember what they call this thing, but it's better for tightening down electrical outlets than a Phillips head. It's got a star drive there, and it's got a couple of different size nut drivers. This is their nut driver. It's kind of big and bulky, but it really comes in handy. It's got a lot of different sizes. Flips around here. It's color coded. Not that I know what the codes mean, but it really does come in handy. Now, this one stays in the top of the box, ready to go at all times. Some of you marine engineers will know exactly what I use this for. We're not going to talk about that on video, but it can also be used to clamp down on something and lock. Made by Vice Grip, needle nose, very handy. I should probably have 2 of these. Here's my pride and joy. The best razor knife I've ever had. It's a snap-off blade. It holds additional blades. It'll lock for when you're really levering down on something, getting ready to cut yourself nice and deep. It's made by Stanley. It's called a Fat Max Extreme. Please hold your jokes. And no sailor would be worth his salt without a good knife. Now, the idea is to have this on you at all times. I don't usually do that. But this is a really good one. I used to use this a lot when I was a tankerman. I have actually cut a line from around my ankle before. And I've also cut a very heavy line, a mooring line, that we could not get the ship to throw off, so we cut it, and this went through it like butter. This is a Spyderco. I believe it's called the Atlantic Salt. And fun fact, it has a rape whistle right here. This is one of the newest additions to the box. This is by a company called Pipe Vice. Like I said, I'm not a fan of tools that are not a specific size. This, you would think, is a mini pipe wrench, but it actually is. It's made for turning fasteners, and I believe it'll go up to a little over 1/2 inch. But this comes in handy when you just want to keep like 1 or 2 tools in your pocket, and especially, like I said, when you're climbing the mast, and it has helped me out quite a bit. I'm starting to really like it. This is called the Micro 5 by Pipe Vice. I should have brought this out earlier. This is another Klein. This is their mini electronic screwdriver. This is good for getting into control cabinets, anything with a PLC and DIN rails, and those tiny little screws that hold all of the ferruled wires in. This one can be short or long, and has 2 different size flats and Phillips. This is a dental pick. I don't use it to clean my teeth. However, I do get my teeth cleaned on a regular basis. But I use this for pulling seals and O-rings off of things. I probably use this 2 or 3 times a week. It's very handy, and the reason I went with a dental pick instead of a nice pick from an actual tool company is because these are much smaller. They're also stainless steel, so they hold up a little better. Now, here's one of the coolest things you'll ever see. This is a mini roll of Gorilla Tape. It comes in so handy. It fits right in the top of my toolbox. Every once in a while I find a good use for it, and you can get it at Home Depot. It's usually on an end cap, just waiting for you to pick it up. This is wire loom tape. It's more like a fabric. Sometimes after I have taken some wire loom off of something in the engine room, I'll just rewrap it with this stuff. It's by a brand called X-Fasten. Here's some run-of-the-mill electrical tape. Everybody's got to have that. Nothing special there. I like to keep it in the little case, keep it clean. And pipe dope. Most of the people use the white stuff. I really like this blue monster. seems to work a little better than the white stuff, and this is assuming I'm not using the liquid version. I've got it in two sizes. I've got 1/2 inch and 3/4 here, but we do have some really big pipe fittings on the boat, so sometimes I use a 3/4, but not very often. This is my headlamp. I used to buy the little $15 Coleman or Energizer brand, but they suck. They will fail you every time. This is a Streamlight. It's got 3 different modes. The brightest one I think is 600 lumens, and it'll light things up pretty well. It also comes with a rubberized strap. This is if I want to wear it on my hard hat. I have another one of these that I have on my hard hat just for doing shipyard work, but this one is I keep the nice soft one on here just to put on top of my head when I'm climbing down into a confined space or working on something down in the bilge. This is called Microcord. It's by a company called Atwood Rope, and it's good for 100 pounds. So every once in a while I find myself tying something off with this in a temporary status. It's come in real handy. It doesn't take up much room in the toolbox and works really well. Of course, I keep some marking tools, industrial Sharpie, a regular mechanical pencil. Keep those right in the top of the box. Use them all the time. This is a deburrer. You would typically deburr a hole after you've drilled through metal, and I have never used this for that. It's a common thing for me to cut the bottom out of a plastic bucket to use it as a drain pan, and I use this to get all the little pieces of plastic off the edge after I make the cuts. I keep it right in the top of my box next to the pen and pencil. If you use a drill or a driver and you don't use these magnetic bit holders, I don't know what to tell you. These are great. I have 2 different lengths. You put this side into the drill or the driver. It's got your Phillips bit. You put your fastener on it, and then you slide the foreskin over the fastener, and then with one hand you can hold the drill and get your fastener started, and as the fastener goes into the wood or the metal or whatever you're driving it into, the foreskin will peel on back. Here's some extra blades for an X-Acto knife. Trying to find mine at the moment. Fun fact, Fiskars makes some really nice products. They don't just do arts and crafts, although this does fall into the arts and crafts category, but they make some nice axes and yard working tools. I have a pair of pruners and a pair of lops of theirs, and I've also got a splitting axe. They work great. It's a good brand, good quality. I just have to brag about this one. This is an outlet tester from Fluke. I found this on sale for $11 and bought 3 of them. I keep them, got one in the house, one in my work toolbox, and one in my car toolbox. It's great. It'll tell you if anything's wired incorrectly. It'll tell you if an outlet's hot. I like it a little better than a chicken stick. Don't worry, folks, we're only 1/3 of the way through this box. That was everything in the top of the box. Now we're getting down into the meat and potatoes. This is something I've had in the box and I have not used yet, but eventually it will save my butt. This is a drill bit and tap set by Viking Tools. It has a set of taps and the exact size drill bit to drill the hole out before tapping the hole. Like I said, they're brand new, have never used them yet, but one day they are gonna save my ass. You guys may have noticed that my toolbox was Milwaukee. I am a bit of a Milwaukee fanboy. And I do have a set of their cobalt drill bits I keep in my box. They're pretty well worn. I use them all the time. I've got a set here, I've got a set at home, and so far I haven't had to replace one, and I haven't broken one, so that says a lot about those. Here's a flashlight I used to use when I was a tankerman. It's supposedly intrinsically safe, although I was pumping a product that wasn't a big concern anyways, but I've had this thing a while. It probably doesn't need to be in my toolbox anymore, but it's kind of there for nostalgia. So I think I'll keep it there a little while longer. Everybody's making a wide jaw 8-inch adjustable wrench now. This thing opens up to 1.5 inches, and usually an inch adjustable wrench that opens that wide would be much longer than this. This one's by Milwaukee. I don't really like it that much. I'm thinking about replacing it with the snap-on, with the comfort grip, you know, because I'm all about the comfort. Got a little Loctite thread sealant, got to keep that in there. I use this all the time. I typically will use the thread tape, but if I'm working on a bigger fitting or something that I'm really don't want to leak, or I don't want to do it twice, I'll add the Loctite to it. Gotta have a set of zip ties in the box. I use these all the time. I use them for what they're meant for. I use them for what they're not meant for. Sometimes I tie about 5 of them together and use them for all kinds of craziness. And I'm sure you've heard this before, but this is a pro tip. You do not open a bag of zip ties by the end. What you do is you poke you a little hole right in the middle of the bag. You reach in there, you pull them out one at a time, and now they will not fall out of either side of the bag, and they are definitely not coming out of that little hole unless you make them. Bad part is putting them back in there. Here's a couple of 1/4-inch taps and drill bits that I just keep in there. That's probably one of the most common sized holes that I had to tap. I just keep a couple of those thrown in the box. These two are brand new, but I've gone through quite a few of these since I've been an engineer. Here's another product by Pipe Vice. I'm very impressed with them. I hesitated to buy them because they advertise so much on social media, and typically that's a sign of a product that is not very high quality. They just want to hype it up, but these have been living up to the hype. This is one of the most slim, self-adjusting pipe wrenches that I've ever found, and my only regret is that I don't have 2 of them. The problem is that would add a lot of weight to my box, and my box is already pretty heavy, but I could definitely go for another one of these in the box. It's just the right size, and an equivalent pipe wrench would be at least 50% wider, if not 100% wider than the head of this, so these work fantastic. I'm a huge fan of Knipex tools. If you call them Knipex, you're probably correct, and you should probably also unsubscribe. This is their 7421-200. They're a German company, so their part numbers are really weird. All I know is the 200 is 200 millimeter length, but this is a great pair of side cutters. I've never even put a little indention in the head. They just work. They work great. I like everything that Knipex makes. Here's a set of Klein wire cutters. And sorry, this video is all over the place, but the toolbox is not exactly organized by what type of work I'm doing. It's more organized like Tetris. I have way too many tools for that small box, so I kind of got to put whatever fits wherever it'll go. This is just a basic pair of wire strippers, but it pretty much does everything I need to do here on the boat. If I were primarily an electrician, I would have a better set, but these have been working great for me, and they're also pretty compact. On the subject of electricity, let me show you one of my favorite things in the whole world. These are Wago connectors, or Vago connectors if we have any German speaking folks out there. Another German company. These are replacing wire nuts, and you just flip the lever up, put your conductor in there, flip it back down, and now your wire's in there nice and tight. This is a 3 conductor. I keep some 5 conductors, some 2 conductors, and they even have an inline splice connector. There's been a lot of testing on these. Before I used them on the boat, I wanted to make sure that they were not prone to overheating, that they were making a good enough electrical contact to not cause too much resistance. And the testing that I've seen actually shows that these will handle a higher amount of heat before they'll actually melt. So I'm confident in them. I love using these for replacing fluorescent light ballasts, because when you swap those out every year or so, you don't have to mess with the wire nut. You just pull the conductor out of one side, put the new conductor in coming from the new ballast, and clip it down, and you're good to go. I keep a bolt size checker. Some people will criticize you for that, because you should be able to eyeball a fastener and tell what size it is and the thread pitch, but I'm not that guy. So every once in a while I like to use my size finder, and it's got a thread pitch guide on this side, and it slips nice and easy right down in the toolbox. It's there ready to go. Here come another set of my favorite tools. I believe this is also a German company, Weha. They make some really great precision drivers, but what I have found is they make the nicest set of Allen keys that I have ever found. I've got a metric and a standard set. They've got a wobble head on one end, so you can kind of get in there at an angle and still turn your fastener. They've got good length to them. They're extremely strong. I've never bent one. And check this out. If you take one of them and turn it, they all turn, and none are in the way of the other when you go to pull one out. Very nice design. A lot of people probably don't even know what this is. This is one of those tools you probably saw in your grandfather's toolbox and never knew what it was. But we have a lot of batteries on the boat, a lot of lead acid batteries, and it's important to keep those terminals clean. So This part of the brush cleans out the inside of a top post terminal, and this side of the brush cleans the top post itself. You just slip it over, give it a little twist, gets it nice and clean, and it screws together in a nice little package. Now you know what that weird thing was on your grandfather's workbench. These should probably be in my shipyard toolbox. We replace a lot of pipe when our vessels go into the shipyard. We've been replacing a lot of steel pipe with copper, and these are pipe cutters that can get into a very tight spot. So you basically just clamp this onto the pipe, turn it into the direction indicated, and I'd say after you turn it about 6 or 7 times, you'll be through the pipe. I mean, you can pretty much put this all the way up to the bulkhead and cut a pipe flush. So these are this one will cut 1/2 inch and 3/4, and this will cut 1 inch pipe, and that's most of what we do on the boat as far as potable water. So I need to take these out and put them in my shipyard box. This is a vernier caliper. Why don't I use a $20 electronic caliper? Because the case is too big. I was looking for more room in my toolbox, so I went with the vernier caliper. You got to do a little more work to come up with your numbers, but that's okay. I prefer to have more room in the toolbox. So obviously you get your inside measurement with these jaws, you get your outside measurement with these jaws, and you have a depth gauge here. Stick that in the hole, stick this right on the edge of the hole, and you can get your depth within, I believe, within 1/1000ths on this. Toothbrushes. Whenever I've worn out a toothbrush, it goes into my toolbox. I use these all the time, cleaning off corrosion or dirt and grime off of something that I'm getting ready to work on. These are great to have. If you get them too dirty, you just throw them away. Here are some more Knipex pliers. Nice pair of needle nose. They have a set of cutters there as well. And this is a pair that I thought I would use more often. It was a new product by them. It's called a twin grip plier. If you look at the head there, it's kind of rounded there. You're supposed to be able to go straight down onto the head of a fastener, get you a good grip on it, and turn it out of there. I've never actually used it for that. One day I will, and I'll be glad I have them. I don't use them as much as I thought I would. This is just a set of Milwaukee needle nose pliers. I like Milwaukee for a lot of things, but their hand tools not so much. I mean, these things do the trick, but it's very seldom I bring these out of my my toolbox. The thing that probably gets the most use in my toolbox is these Knipex Cobra pliers. They've got a lot of adjustability, and if you were to lock these onto a piece of pipe, you could literally stand on the handle here and they would stay locked on the pipe. They are one of the best hand tools I've ever had. I love these. I use them all the time. It's another one of those tools that I use properly and improperly. If I can fit these in somewhere, even if they're not made for it, I will use them for it. So they make these in a few different sizes. This is the 180 millimeter version. I'd like to have a larger pair, but it's I'm pretty much at the capacity of my box, so it's the only reason I haven't bought a larger pair to go with these. Here's a Milwaukee tool I actually like. I haven't seen a whole lot of people make this. This is a handle that holds a Sawzall blade. And you would think that I cut metal with this, but once again, you would be wrong. I use this to cut the bottom out of buckets. Just like my deburring tool earlier, I cut the bucket with this, and then I deburr it with my little Milwaukee deburring tool. But it just fits a Sawzall blade in there. You can put the longer ones in there, but it won't fold closed if you do that. So this thing comes in handy. I have a magnetic spirit level. I use these when I'm mounting something, and if I didn't already have a spirit level in the engine room to determine whether or not I have a list on the vessel, I would just stick this above the doorway in the engine room, and that would help me figure that out. But I keep going back and forth, you know, about Milwaukee tools, but this is one of their better ones. This thing is very well made. It's very nice. Here's something you probably don't see a lot of engineers use. This is gauging paste. It says gasoline gauging paste, but it actually works for diesel. A lot of people just sprinkle Ajax on their sounding tape when they stick it into the fuel tank. I don't like that method, so I use gauging paste. Just take a little bit, rub it on the sounding tape, and that light pink will turn to a bright red whenever it makes contact with the diesel. It's unmistakable. It helps you gauge much more accurately. Here I have a lock for my toolbox. I never know where I'm going to have to leave it and who I'm going to have to leave it with, so it's not like they couldn't pick up the entire box and take it with them, but what I'm more concerned with is someone taking a tool out of the box and not putting it back. So I don't very often have to lock it, but when I do, I have a lock ready to go. Here are some spare blades for my favorite razor knife. I keep a tap handle. This fits those quarter 20 taps that I told you are so common. I prefer a set of tap sockets. It's just another thing where I don't want to keep that much weight in the toolbox. I do keep those in my shipyard toolbox, so they come in handy. I keep a metal ruler. Kind of use it like a straight edge. I had to cut it just to make it fit in the box. I think it was 16 inches long, and I had to cut it to make it fit. But you know, I use this just for helping me draw straight lines and stuff like that when I'm doing some fabrication. Keep a putty knife. A lot of times I'm just using this to scrape grease off of something, or I use it to grab a scoop of grease out of a grease bucket so I can grease the Texas bar, you know. It gets a lot of different uses, just not your typical. I don't scrape paint with it and putty. It's more used for like dirty work. Wire brush, just like the toothbrushes. Gotta have one of these in the box, use it all the time. Gotta clean up threads before you reassemble something, or clean some corrosion off of something. This comes in great. Magnetic pickup tool. This is the strongest one I could find that'll fit in my toolbox. Sometimes it'll get things out of the bilge, sometimes it won't, but if it doesn't, I have a nice strong magnet on the boat that I can use, but this is good to have in the box. I have these in all my toolboxes, especially the one in my car. There's nothing worse than dropping a fastener down into the engine compartment and not being able to get it. This is a battery caddy. This one's made by Storacell. It holds 4 AAAs and 8 AA's and 1 9-volt. It's nice to have. Of course, the company provides us batteries, but when I'm working in the upper wheelhouse and then I end up needing a battery, I don't want to have to go all the way back down to the office to get one, so I keep some in my toolbox. Razor knife. This one's usually just for scraping things off of the windows or flat surfaces. Sometimes scraping some old gasket material off of something. I don't use this too often, but gotta have it. Automatic center punch. These are wonderful. If you're getting ready to drill a hole through metal and you need to punch out where you're getting ready to drill, these are great, especially considering I don't keep a hammer in my toolbox. So I'm not going to do it on the table here, but all you do is you just push down, it's spring loaded, and then it'll just pop a nice little hole in your metal. You usually do it 2 or 3 times and then you're good to go, but this is invaluable when you're getting ready to drill through metal. Why do I have an air chuck? Why do I have a air pressure gauge? We have potable water bladders, pressure tanks, and they need to be set to the right PSI. So I use this to check them and make sure that they are set correctly. If not, the jet pumps will short cycle or will not work correctly and burn them out. So that's why I have a pressure gauge in my toolbox on a tugboat. On to our last tools. This is a cable sheath cutter by Knipex. They're made by quite a few different people, but what you do is it's got a tiny little blade in there which you adjust with this screw up or down, and then you lay your cable in there. This spring-loaded piece holds it down, and then you wrap it around the cable 2 or 3 times, and it'll cut just deep enough to cut the insulation off of the cable, but not cut the conductors inside. So I use this quite a bit, and it's much better than just trying to go around it with a razor knife and hope that you don't cut a conductor. Here is one of the most basic multimeters you can buy. This is the Fluke 101. It doesn't have a whole lot of features, but it'll do hertz, it'll do continuity, it'll do AC and DC voltage, and it'll also do resistance. So most everything that I do on the boat I can do with this meter. We have a much nicer Fluke meter in the engine room, and sometimes I get that, but if I'm lugging around my own toolbox and I need to take a measurement, I just use my little 101 here. And last, but certainly not least, this is a tool by Linus Tech Tips. This is their precision bit set. It's so nice, I keep it in the box. Now, if you're familiar with fixing electronics, you've probably heard of the company called iFixit. Now, I have one of iFixit's largest toolkits at home, and it's great. I have no complaints about it. But the Linus Tech Tips version is smaller, has a few nicer features, excuse me, And I actually just used it today. I had to pull apart a handheld vacuum cleaner to see if I could get the thing to work, and it had a security bit in here that I needed. This Torx security bit number 10, and will I actually use this to fix the boat? More than likely no. Most likely I'll be fixing the captain's reading glasses with the tiniest little Phillips head bit here, or doing things like fixing that little vacuum cleaner. But this is just a really nice set of precision bits. They're replaceable, not like the little Chinese bits that you get from Harbor Freight. If I were to break a bit, I could get one directly from Linus Tech Tips. These are great. The lid here is magnetized. First of all, it detaches from the case. It's magnetized and it's divided, so I can put the screws in here and they won't go anywhere as I disassemble something. When I was just home last, I had to replace a battery in a MacBook, and I used my my iFixit toolkit, and I had wished that I was able to use my new Linus Tech Tools kit, but we got some gauging paste over there. Gotta get that off. This thing's too nice to be getting all dirty. Okay, and lastly, we are going to attempt to weigh this box. I've never weighed it. I don't have a clue what it weighs. I'm going to say it's close to 40 pounds. This will be the first thing that this scale has measured under 300 pounds. So let's see what we can do here. Oh, she's not steady. There we go. Well, I don't know if you can see that jumping around there, but it's 29.8 pounds. So I guess I'm a wimp.